Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. This is Jenny from Polly's Paper Studio, and today I'm sharing this mini album that I created with Nature Sketchbook from Graphic 45. So on the cover, I have some beautiful cut aparts that are layered with altered chipboard. These are from Gypsy Soul laser cuts. And there's beautiful wild orchid craft flowers from Really Reasonable Ribbon, as well as gorgeous diamond satin trim here in that gorgeous green that matches the foliage, the cutter parts. So some of the details I added to this cover are vintage buttons, as well as some frills here in the top. The chipboard, I have some different techniques I used. Is a crackle paint on the leaves and some gold on this small frame. I've added a couple of the staple keys here along with this cute metal clip, and spiral stamens help to fill in the floral arrangement. So this book, I created the cover on using policy envelopes, and at the end of this flip through I will show you the whole process of how I created the album itself. So once I had the cover completed, I went about filling the inside. So I used the craft tags from the Staples collection also, and I used a small ring binder clip from Tim Holtz to hold them in. So each of these small sections is 4x4, and that was so nice because it made the measurements the same for every page, so it went together fairly quickly. There are different combinations of the pattern papers, and some of them I've added some die cuts and fussy cut images. For this page, I'm adding a little pocket here, and I'm using the border strips to accent all the pockets and the tags. This is more of the tags. These are the alpha tags from the banner, and I'm just tucking these in to add extra space in the mini so that there can be more pictures and journaling. The next set of pages has a tip-in for each page, and I also added some additional tags here covered in the pattern paper, one for each side, and they're just clipped on with a coordinating paper clip with the yellow that matched to the feather. This set of pages has pockets as well, but I've turned them on their sides so they pull out like on the side rather than on the top, and I finished it with a coordinating paper for both of these. This next set is kind of a trifold situation. The front page has some die cuts here. This is a sweet little banner, and then you can open it to have 4 different sections on the inside. They're nice for larger pictures, and then also they each fold up on the outside for coordinating patterns on the back. And then this page was accident. I inadvertently glued the page on upside down. So rather than having another doily like I had on the front page, I went ahead and added a pocket, and that's fine because this is just another place to tuck in a little something from the collection kit. So if you want to see how I created the book itself, just continue to watch, and there is a process video on how to create the cover of this mini. So keep watching and you will see that next. So to create this album, I'm using 2 of the square policy envelopes. I have clipped off the portion of the flap, and I'm going to save those because they'll be added back in later. Now I'm using also some recycling. This is just a box from a granola bar, and I didn't measure it. I just held it up to the edge and clipped around, and I did take the side apart and clip it so that when I reattach it, I would get the right depth that I needed to install the ring binding system. So once that is all cut and ready to go, I can insert it into the envelope, and while I'm at it, I'm going to tuck in a few additional pieces of 110-pound cardstock, or go ahead and use some additional recycling. And you can see now that it has created a very nice, thick and sturdy cover. So you'll want to do that for the front and the back. And now that I have both of these pockets filled, I'm ready to begin assembling the book. Now I'm going to just make sure that I've got everything tucked in very well and that it is clipped perfectly. I'm seeing that I just need to remove a tiny sliver off the top so that it will be even. So I'm just going to hold it in place and clip it. If you want to measure it, you go ahead, you do you, but I just winged it and held it up and measured it by eye and went ahead and clipped off the excess. So now I'm going to use score tape to attach this, and I've got 3 large pieces. It's a generous amount, but don't be concerned because that back cover will be wrapped with additional layers of paper, so it will be very secure. I've got that attached now, and you can see when I bend the flaps from the tag over, it will cover the edges of the book spine. So it will be a lovely finished edge, and there will be no concern that it will crack and the core of the paper will show. So you'll see that when I do have these attached, it does not cover the entire back, and that is fine because I plan to wrap it anyway. Now we have the basic shape of the album created, and I want to build in some additional stability and structure. So I have cut a very thick piece of a mat board, and I'm going to add that just to the back, because when I add that the ring binding system, it will need to be very sturdy. I had originally planned to attach the ring binding system with some eyelets, and because I added this additional piece that was very thick, I wasn't able to do that. So you will see that I'm going to wrap this portion now with some black cardstock and using that score tape again. I will be adding a layer of the border strip from the pattern paper, but when I covered it the first time and attempted to use the eyelets, it was not going to be successful. So you will see that I have in the next few frames gone and taken off the additional patterned strip that was decorating that, and then I'm just going to recover it. But I just wanted you to see that you can wrap that as a 12-inch piece of cardstock, and it wrapped around very well. So here is that flap again, and I'm going to reattach it in the inside so that it will be completely covered. Now here is where I am going back and fixing that mistake of the black cardstock. So I've got one more piece. I wrapped it around to begin with because I wanted the back to have a full piece that did not have a seam to it. So I previously just wrapped it around and made sure that it would end at the bottom. So now you can see where I have taken off that last piece, and I'm just going to eyeball that again and cut off what will be excess before it's attached to the book. So next will be the patterned paper, and it just cut that from the border strip. I wrapped that around, same as with the black cardstock, and once again using the score tape to attach it. I'm just adding that score tape to the back for now because I need to have access to the back of the spine so that I can add the clips that will hold the binding system in place. So now here is the pattern paper that will show. It's just a lovely border strip, and it coordinates really beautifully with the front cover. Now you can see I'm bending it and making sure that it will be a full strip in the back and not have a seam showing, and I can add that binding system and determine where I need to add the holes so that I can attach it with the little brads that are included. This is a Ranger ring binding system, and it did come with the brads. Now, because I've put that hole in further than what my crocodile will reach, I had to cut that with a craft knife, but that was no trouble because I had previously punched the thick mat board for the brads. So I just went ahead and used the brads that were included, making sure to get them nice and snug, and separated the, I guess that's a shank or back, I'm not really sure exactly what that's called, but make sure you get that good and tight because you don't want the binding system to move at all once it's in place. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to go ahead and secure those, whatever they are, with some additional score tape to keep them from moving. Now I can wrap the rest of the back, and at this point you will see I get only so far, and then my memory card is full. So sadly I do not have it totally finished, but you will see that it will be totally covered, and it will have that lovely border strip in the back. So I will continue to tape and wrap those edges, and you can see now that the top and bottom will have a nice clean finished edge, as well as where it folds in the front and back. And this will be the base that I'm going to add the rest of the pages to. So that is actually, it went very quickly after I recovered from not being able to use the eyelets. So I'm going to make this again because I just love how it turned out. So again, here is the book that is completed, and I've added all the layers of pattern paper and embellishments and chipboard and flowers and ribbons and trims. So this was made from Graphic 45 Nature Sketchbook, and I will leave links for that in the description below, as well as for Gypsy Soul laser cuts and really reasonable ribbon. You will also find links to our social media sites. And if you enjoyed this video, can you give it a like, leave me a comment, and if you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe. As always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.